This is episode 3 of Riff with Me, a podcast from a grateful and grumpy guitarist. I am your host, Patrick Rifflin. This again is episode 3 of Riff with Me. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it very, very much. We took the week off last week because in addition to being grateful and grumpy, I'm also lazy. So that is okay. We're going to talk about that today, actually. It's going to be a wonderful episode. We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to pick up our guitars, and we're going to have good vibes, and that's what it is. It's a Monday today, so I'm approaching the week with a fresh, renewed mind and a deeper, more resonant, and grateful spirit. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing good and staying safe and going out when you need to and staying in when you need to, and we'll talk a little bit about that today too. But first and foremost, thank you so much for tuning in to the first 2 episodes. And if you are just discovering this show, this podcast, it's a new thing for me, and we're talking our way through it. It's called Riff with Me. It's very, very, very much improv based, and I feel really good about it. And it's something that's given me a platform to talk through where I'm at in my life, and hopefully instruct a few people that are thinking about picking up the guitar. And we could talk about the guitar and our love for music and all things that create good vibes. And also, again, we are going to be building off of the first 2 episodes, so I'm going to try and keep every episode kind of sequential as far as our guitar lesson portion of that. So we're going to continue building on the pentatonic scale. That's what we're going to do when we pick up our guitars today. But other than that, I just wanted to, again, put out another episode, send some good vibes to everybody who would like to listen and tune in and hopefully relax and chill and go through your day and kick it with me for maybe like 30 minutes or 40 minutes. And we're going to play a couple jams for you. And if you guys are curious more about the music that I'm doing right now, I actually just re-released my EP with my band called The Vibe Creators, and so that is now available on Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff to stream. Pardon me. Again, that's The Vibe Creators with 3 I's, The Vibe, VIIIBE Creators. And we also have a .com, which is thevibecreators.com, again with 3 I's and the Vibe, VIIIVE, thevibecreators.com. And you can download the whole entire EP for free right now if you go to thevibecreators.com. So check it out, and you can hear some guitar with a lot of production. And I'm singing and writing lyrics and the whole thing. So I'm looking forward to putting out more new music, especially through the summer as a result of this shut-in time. And I'm definitely excited to collaborate with more musicians and artists. And if you are a musician, artist, comedian, somebody who likes to riff in any way, please give me a shout. I'm going to start having guests on this show soon, and we're going to continue to create good vibes and hopefully build a community of entertaining the people with good music and some insight and all kinds of fun stuff. So anyway, let's pick up our guitars real quick, and we can kind of power through where we have been at with our pentatonic scale. You know that we usually do it in A minor, which is on the 5th fret, so we're going to pick up our guitars there, get that nice A minor chord, and we're going to start down at the low E string, which is on the 5th fret there, and I'm just gonna say the frets real quick. We're gonna go from low to high. It's on the 5th fret. It's just 5 8 5 7 5 7 5 7 5 8 5 8 backwards 8 highest note to lowest note 8 5 8 5 7 5 7 5 7 5 8 5. Right? Okay. So then if you tuned in last week, I kind of gave you some homework to kind of mess around the in-between notes. And kind of figure out what sounds best to you. And so what I'm going to do today is just put a couple names to those in between notes, and we're going to talk really, really basic, and it's going to be really quick and easy. So basically, we're going to add 2 notes into the pentatonic scale, and we're going to turn it into what they call the natural minor scale. And the only 2 notes that we're adding is right here. So I'm going to go on the, we'll just start at the low note on the 5th fret. And so instead of skipping to the 8th fret, we're going to add the 7th fret. So we're going to go, instead of, we're going to go, right? And if we're just counting up, we're actually going to say the interval that it is in the scale. So this note, our first note, is the 1. So 1, and then using this next note, that's a 2. And then the 8th fret happens to be a 3. So we'll talk more about intervals at a later date, but I just wanted to throw these really quick, easy notes. So it's just 2 notes. So here we go. It's going to be, so we were on the 7. Now we're going to just go up 1 more note and add that 8th fret. So the bottom 2 strings, the low E and the A string, we're going to go 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, and then 5, 7. And that's it. So it's just, right? And so we're going to stay at this note, which is the next octave up. So this is the A note, which is the 7th fret on the D string. And we're going to go, usually in the pentatonic, we go up to the 5th fret on that G. So we're going to go down a fret before we go there. So we're going to go on the 4th fret, which is, and then up to the 5th, and the 7th fret, and the 5th fret, and then we're going to add that 1 fret higher note, which is the 6th fret, and then up to the 8th fret, and then there's our octave, and then that 2 comes in again on the 7th fret, right there. And then there's where we would end. So we're going to do that backwards, which is, that's the 4th fret, and now we're back to the 7th fret on the D string, right? So that 6th fret, 8th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, right? So that's the natural minor scale. So that's really all 7 notes. And so we can talk about later on all those notes, because we're in A minor, the relative major is C. So all the notes are the letters. So it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, up to that C. So that's why I wanted to show you guys that, because on multiple levels, it's a really good starting point if you're just picking up the instrument. If you have been playing for a while, I'm sure you probably know all that already. But with the natural minor and pentatonic scale, you can begin to build all kinds of amazing chords and soloing. So if you have a groove in just like A minor, and you're doing pentatonic, and you throw the natural minor, that's the second note, and that's actually my favorite note to kind of embellish when I solo or when I build chords. When you put the chord behind it, they call it a 9 chord, because you're going to the next octave. So the second note and the next octave is referred to as the 9th note. So that's why they call it a 9 chord. And a 9 chord would sound like this. It's just an A minor, but with a B on top. So it'd be like, and that's one of my favorite sounds all time. So I always embellish that whenever I play. And then that 6th, which is literally the 6th fret, is the 6th note in the scale. Gives it that feeling. So real quick, since we're just in the pocket right now, I'm going to show you also the flat, that right there. So that's a major, I'm spacing right now, but that's what they call the harmonic minor scale. That's the note. Major 7, that's what I'm thinking. So it's the major 7 instead of the minor 7, which is one note up, which is... So if that's your octave, you just go one note down. So that's the harmonic minor scale. And those, combining all of those, you can really start to build some cool sounds and some cool melodies. And we can talk more about playing over certain chords and integrating the harmonic minor, which is I'm still kind of, learning how to do and develop. So anyway, we got the pentatonic, natural minor, just for fun, harmonic. Yes. So pentatonic, natural minor, harmonic minor. Feel free to do your research and practice on those this week. And those are really great starting points. I know when I have guitar students that those are the first scales that I always try and run through because it builds your ear, and then it also gives you kind of the freedom to know how to apply different notes at different times, or to begin to build that foundation. So anyway, also if you're a guitarist, feel free to share your knowledge and how you like to apply these scales, or which chords you use these scales over, and feel free. I'm learning too, so we're all learning together. And again, I wanted to create a platform that hopefully sparks some interest in the beautiful instrument that is the guitar. So anyway, there's our portion of our guitar playing portion of Riff With Me. And also, I always like to give a little bit of homework. So your homework is to do those scales. So try and do all three of those. Actually, I am going to assign the harmonic minor in there too, and I will just really quickly run through the frets on that. So if we're going to go just starting down there, it's the same as the natural minor. So on the low E string is 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, and then instead of 5, you're going to skip up to the 6th fret, and then 7. So 6, 7, and then like in the natural minor, we're going to go start at that A note, and then 4, 5, 7, 5, 6. Then on the high E, 4, and then 5, and then 7, and then 8. So backwards it's harmonic minor scale. Okay, cool. So yeah, I hope that helps. And like I said, feel free to contact me or leave a comment if you do want any more explanation or help at all. I haven't figured out how, when, or if I'll be doing guitar lessons online, but it's something that I'm not opposed to. So if anybody does want some help on their instrument, I'm here. And if anybody is more further along the journey and wants to share their knowledge on this platform, I would be so grateful for that, because it's all about sharing the knowledge and celebrating music, especially right now. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing great. Thank you for tuning in. This is Riff With Me, and I am your host, Patrick Rifflin. This is episode 3. And again, I thank you so very, very much for tuning in. And there's so much craziness going on right now. And I am in the middle of it with all of you, as we all are. and I miss playing live music, and I'm praying and hoping that we can get through this and go back to or go forward to times when we can get together and celebrate and jam and play music on our instruments and dance and have fun and just have good times. I miss it. I miss it. I miss it. So I guess also I wanted to touch on like how is everybody really doing? You know, there's like this challenge about going on Instagram and saying how you're really feeling, and there's something about mental health. And so I guess for just a couple brief minutes, if you're listening, I guess do a quick self check. How are you feeling? You know, how are you really feeling about things? And are you doing okay? Are you treating yourself okay? The crazy thing about right now that's unlike anything most of us have probably lived through is it's not just one person's situation. It's a very much shared, difficult time that we're all going through at the same time, which is so crazy. It's not just about from my point of view, it's not just about losing a gig or not being able to play at this gig or that gig, or not being able to have a part-time income from this job or that job, because everybody's going through it. And it can be so overwhelming, you know, when you really think about it. Like, I know I've felt like so overwhelmed at points, and then it can be profoundly inspiring to kind of re-examine where you're at in your life and where you want to go. But then again, it can be so just anxiety filled when you think about the unknowns, which there's just so many unknowns still at this point in life. And it is, what month is it? Is it May? It's May. It's mid-May, at some point in mid-May in 2020. And there's just so many unknowns. And you know, it'd be easy to put down your instrument at this time. It'd be easy to not make music. And I've definitely felt like that at times, and kind of like looked at music and like entertainment and like very like, what's the point? You know, when so much is really going on in the world, the last thing you want to do is try and just distract, you know, or take away from, you know? And so I've had to really shift my mind and realize and remember that music, and to a further extent entertainment, is not necessarily to take away from, but it's to add to and to express and to be able to contribute something that brings joy. And now, going through these difficult times, we all need to feel joy in whatever way that is as healthy as possible, and that can hopefully give insight in some sort of way. I think that's the beauty of music and storytelling, is that you can find a way to entwine it with some insight and some guidance and some sort of lesson or some sort of meaning and purpose. And so I know I've been really kind of going further into myself, into an introspective state, and kind of hitting like roadblocks of what's the point and why even try right now. But just as a musician, I know that there have been people that have played music in difficult times, obviously, for hundreds of years. And so to stand on the shoulders of those who have came before as musicians, I hope is a reminder that I'm using, that I would definitely encourage other musicians to consider. That, you know, there's been music through wars, there's been music through famine, there's been music through flourishing, and music will continue. And it's up to the individual musician what you choose to do. And if you don't want to do anything right now, that's completely understandable. And I've been on both sides of the fence. Like if it's time to take a break, it's time to take a break. Like there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you want to persevere, or if you want to double down and be extra creative because of the time, there's nothing wrong with that either. And so I encourage all the musicians that are listening, or even if you're thinking about all the creatives, I encourage all the creatives, which is everybody really, to think about what do you want to create right now, and also to think about your host for a second and hold him in a positive light, that he may create something that may bring joy to the world. So anyway, that's that's my rant for the day, right? I like to get introspective at times here, always to give food for thought. And again, I'm just grateful to be here. I'm doing okay, relatively speaking. And so I have nothing but much positivity and blessings to share with everybody out here. And that's why I'm trying to push myself to do that, and to share that joy, because I know that music has been such an anchor in my life, and it continues to be. And so that is really what we're here doing. We're on episode 3 of Riff with Me. And if you're just tuning in, I'm your host, Patrick Rifflin. So I think it's time to stop ranting. And I also think that it's time to start thinking about getting some other people on the show with me. So if you guys got any suggestions, I am on the west side of Seattle. And so if you are in Seattle and you're an artist, you're a creative, man, hit me up. If you're not in Seattle, if you're anywhere, just hit me up. Let's get it. Let's get this show going. I would love to interview people and talk about your process, talk about how you like to riff, how you like to improv, and how you like to create. And so again, I'm doing this to express myself, but really to build a platform for creatives in general, to come and have a good time and create good vibes, because that's really, at the end of the day, what it's all about. And it's so nice to be able to talk some of these things out, but it's not about me over here at Riff With Me. No. I want you to riff with me. And so, I really look forward to getting some interviews going, and I'm open to suggestions completely. So thank you so much for listening. And you know what? I think it might be time for a little guitar jam here, since we've been talking, and let's just figure that out, right? I'm going to do a harmonic minor thing. Right. And we're back. Episode 3, Riff With Me. I am your host, Patrick Rifflin. And that was just a very, very basic 3-chord jam using that harmonic minor scale that we were talking about earlier. It gives it such a nice, eerie, Spanish guitar sounding kind of thing. And it's very fun. So definitely try and practice that scale this week if you are a guitar player. And again, if you're further along in the musical journey and want to share some tips and tricks here on Riff with me, please comment and hit me up. Let's riff. So again, I'm up here in Seattle. I don't know where y'all are at, but I really appreciate the love and the kindness and the support from everywhere in the world. And I hope that there are young guitar players and guitar players of all ages out there that are picking up their instruments right now at this very crazy time that we're going through, and making others smile with your music, because that's what it's all about on any way possible. I know how much I miss being in a room with a bunch of people and smile and having them smile because of a certain riff that I'm doing. And it's rough, man. It's rough. So again, it's mid-May 2020, and we'll see where things go from here. But in the midst of all that, we're still going to riff. And again, this is episode 3 of Riff with Me, and probably getting ready to get on out of here. I like to keep these short at first, just so I can kind of talk my way through it. This is a new journey for me, so I thank you very, very, very much for tuning in and allowing me to express myself, and for you to receive that. It brings me deep, deep joy, so thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And so, again, I hope to have others on here in the coming episodes very, very soon. And I will be doing my best to be as regular as possible with posting these. I know I didn't do any last week because I'm a bum, and we're not going to do that for long. So thank you again. This is episode 3, Riff with Me. And I guess the last thing I will touch on, a mini rant, is in my life as a musician. One lesson that I'm still learning so much more now than ever is that the key, and it's not a secret, there's no secret to it, is consistency. And in my musical career, I've not been too consistent. So I do not want this podcast to represent that. This is a chance for me to practice my personal consistency, and that I am very grateful for. So if you're practicing your instrument, if you are posting content, if you are recording music, if you're performing music, if you are getting a band together, if you're getting your solo career together, you got to be consistent, right? So again, that's no secret, but it's a lesson that I find myself continuously learning. And continuously popping up. So to all the other musicians and creatives, I just would like to send a message of hope and focus and positivity on being consistently creative. So I think with that said, we're probably going to get on out of here. And thank you again. I will say it so many more times, but thank you. I really hope everybody out here is doing great and flourishing and finding creative abundance. And these are the times that creative abundance is needed and joy is much needed. So let's all spread some joy in the next couple days. I will be back with another episode for sure this week. And again, this is Riff with Me, and I'm your host, Patrick Rifflin. So we're going to do one more jam, and I'm going to get on out of here. Thank you. Good vibes.